Today I'm working on the pipe for the rub rail. This is roughly, let's see, the outside's about, I don't know, just a skosh under an 1 3/4 inches, so it's 1 11/16 inches. The inside is approximately, what, one-handed, maybe 1 3/8 inches. I don't know, doesn't matter. These are going to go in between my rub rail, and it's still hot. It's going to go like that. This is what I cut it with, this Dewalt. I don't even know what model this is. I've had this thing for a long time. So long that I probably should replace it. It bogs down pretty bad. Let's see, what model is this thing? I don't see a model number. Oh, DW870. It's a 14-inch. Yeah, 14-inch chop saw. I have a love-hate relationship with this chop saw. I love that it'll give me a within reason a pretty straight cut. Angles, not so much. The clamping really leaves something to be desired. I mean, it's just really not. I don't know. It's not as accurate as I'd like it to be, but I guess it is what it is. But I hate how much sparks it throws. I hate how loud it is. I hate the fact that sometimes it takes forever, like when you're cutting something like this. To get through the very beginnings of it takes forever, and then once you're into this part, it goes pretty quick, and then as soon as you get back here, you can see the color change. Maybe it shows up. It never gives you an absolutely great cut on stuff like this, and I wasn't pushing hard because I can't, because the motor's worn and it bogs down so bad. But it's better than cutting it by hand. I could cut it with a portable bandsaw that I have, but it's not going to be as accurate. But so now I got to go clean these up. But I'm looking at the Evolution, their cold saw with the carbide bit. This one's a 4,000 RPM, I think I saw. Or is it 3,000? What is it? 3,000. And the Evolution, being the carbide, turns slower. It throws more chips, not dust. You know, it's not going to throw that. It's going to throw actual chips, and it turns slower. But I thought about picking one of those up and give it a try, but I'm just not convinced. Some other guys, like Mike, said I think he said he used a Makita. I don't know, this thing's probably, well, I got this when Brandon was a baby, so it's over 20 years old. And it shows it. I mean, when you're using it, you got to be gingerly with it. It just ain't got enough power to really do it. It took me about 20 minutes to cut 10 of these. I had to go real slow. But anyways, they're cut, so now we'll get these cleaned up and get them ready to weld on. We'll see if I get a new one or not. I have a bandsaw, a horizontal bandsaw around here somewhere. It's just buried. I need to find it because I've got some other projects coming up where we need to cut a lot of steel, and I think that might be the ticket for what we're going to do. But let's get these cleaned up. All right, see what we're going for now. Just in between. I mean, I'm sure most people understood, but I know some people skip through the videos, you know, and just kind of watch what you're doing, because there was a comment and the guy said, yeah, you should put some pipe between the two. Yeah, that's what I said in the last video. So he must have skipped around, but that's what we're going for. I didn't bother cleaning the insides up. Doesn't really matter. It's more time. Now I'm going to weld. I do not do well welding pipe. This is like a double negative for me, because not only am I welding upright, but I'm welding round too. So I don't expect great results. And we'll see what happens. I'll probably do the bottom sides first to get some practice. So all the horrible mess will be underneath it, and then I'll come to the top sides. Well, they progressively got better. I'll tell you what, I'm pleased that I started on the bottom side. I did halfway this way, then come back the other way, but at least now I can do the top side and feel okay about it. So now I'm going to let the bed down. I did this on purpose so it would be at eye level and easier to work with. These stake pockets didn't turn out too bad. I did these ones. I was going to wait for Brandon because you'd be able to see that. But, yeah, it'll do. I mean, some are better than others. But, it'll be alright. It'll hold. Alright, I'm going to set this thing down. I got to move my welder a little bit. Get this thing down where I can get on the top of this, and then we're going on to rub rail. Alright, so now I've marked this at 3 inches. I need to clean this up now. I'm going to heat this up with a torch and then bend it in. I don't know if it'll bend on its own. I guess I could try it with a big hammer. I just don't want to, I don't want it weird looking. I don't want a bunch of dents in here, so probably best if I just heat that up. You know, some are better than others, but you know, a little practice and you know, my welds are getting better. As time goes on, they're getting a little better. I wouldn't say great, but better. Anyways, let me get this heated up, get this cleaned up real quick, and I'll get ready to weld that in. I just took a piece of wood, a block of wood on top of that, beat it in place, and then use this big clamp. I got these at Tractor Supply. These things are incredible. They're so big and versatile. I really like these. It's what I use to hold the rub rail against that also, but that turned out all right. Now we just got to do the front one. I think I'm about done on this side. I just have to lift it, and I need to weld the bottom of these pipes. I did the bottoms. No, I did some of the bottoms of the stake pockets, not all of them. So I'm going to lift it back up and do that, but first I'm going to get this thing handled. Yeah, I'll do that next. Alright, both rub rails are finished now. Alright, so now I have 3/4 LEDs I got to drill in here. I don't know if I'm thinking about putting one out here or if I should keep them in this little trough. I think I'd like them in the trough. And then we're going to put 3 more up there in the bulkhead. So I'll have to get that plastic off the bulkhead so we can drill it. Alright, I just finished up the 3 holes up there for my LEDs up in the center. Those are 8 inches on center, which matches these ones down here, which are 8 inches on center. There's a little plug still in that one. There we go. There's a plug. Got my D-rings in. I triple passed them once, twice, and then third. Those things are massive. They're not a little D-ring. Those ought to be more than adequate for what we're doing. Man, I can't think of anything else that I need to do other than I'm waiting on these new braces. I ordered these ones, had them made, but I like the angle that it's at, but I want it to come down and I want it to cover the front. So I'm going to have them made again so they come up farther. They follow that line, that same angle, and then down here they're going to stop at 20 inches and come straight down and cover this whole corner. So that'll make that good and strong. So I'm waiting on that. That's the last 2 things to do. It's the next day. I've thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, and I think that's as far as I'm going. That's all I'm putting on this. I think we should be okay. So the next step is I need to get the bed out of the way, bring the truck back in, and I need to work on the mounts because I'm going to use semi-permanent steel from that main frame to the truck frame, and I want to do that and drill all my holes before I send it out to get sandblasted and painted. So we're going to lift this out of the way, bring the Freightliner back in, set it in place, get everything cleaned up before we do, and start setting this down and get my plan together for my mounts. Alright, so here's what I'm thinking. We'll start at the front. I'm thinking up here, I'm thinking about going right in between the battery box, right here. Sorry, camera's not even where I'm at. Possibly going right through the battery box and having one bracket here. Maybe come over here in the center add one more. And then where the gooseneck is, I want to find center of the axle, make a line, and then measure over here to what these two bolts are, measure back this way, put two over here, and bring a plate up where the gooseneck is. I'm going to take flat plate, just whatever I have, whatever will fit in here, it's not very big, on the back, and then do the same thing on this side. So actually, I'm drilling 2, 4, 6, 12 holes is what I'll be drilling, unless I utilize the holes for the battery box, which I could. I could use the battery box holes and space out the other side with the same materials, which I'm okay with, because there's plenty of room. We could move that battery box out. There's plenty of room. It's not going to hurt anything. And then just mimic that same thing over here, which I'd be plenty okay with. So maybe I'll use those 2 holes. So I'm going to drill 2, 4 holes. 4 holes on that side, and 2, 4, 6 on this side. So 10 holes total. And I'll use 1/2 inch material. We'll get them mounted up loosely. Then we'll set the bed on and see where they lay out. And then I'll drill holes in the brackets that we make, because I'm going to bolt it to the frame. Because if you remember right, you can see where the edge of the bed was. This thing is not, the frame of the bed is not straight. It's kind of bananaed like this. So I'm going to put spacers in different places. So I'm just going to bolt the bed to here, and I may weld down the sides somewhere easy to get to, because remember, this may come off this truck. I may sell this truck, and you know, the bed may go on something else. So, all right, I guess it's time to quit yammering on and get to work. So here's what we're going to start with. I got a nice piece of long angle. This is 3-inch C-channel. I have 2 of each of these. I'm sure I have more in the scrap bin. I just didn't look, because I thought this might be close to enough. That's 2.5 by 2.5 angle, so that'll work out all right. And I've got some smaller C-channel somewhere. I'd really like to put C-channel in that back, but there's enough room. It's going to be flat, this flat strap or angle iron, one or the other. But I'm going to start cutting these apart, get some measurements, see what I need, so I cut it apart and I don't waste anything. So let's see how it goes. It takes forever to make this stuff when you're cutting apart other stuff and cutting welds off and grinding and all that. But anyways, I got a few hours in screwing around here, but this is what I'm going to end up with. Take a piece of C-channel. It's going to go down in between the battery box and the frame, so it'll bolt through. I'll get a little bit longer bolts when I get my hardware, so it'll sit up like this, and then we'll be able to drill and bolt the bed to this. And this will be my spacer to move this side of the battery box out. This one goes in the center right here, 40 inches from this one, 40 inches from that. The gooseneck plate I'm ordering, it's going to be the mount that comes up here is 3/8 of an inch thick, and it's going to be 18 inches long, 14 inches tall. The problem is here, I cannot bolt that to that I-beam because I can't get into it to put a wrench on nuts. So I may have to go ahead and weld those ones. This just stinks. I'm not sure about this. I got this piece of steel cut and drilled. That's all we have. Oh, I got that backwards. That's all I have room for. I wish it was something better, but it's not. So that's why I went with 3/8 plate so long. That 3/8 plate's going to come clear back into here, somewhere around there. Well, I can just tell you for sure, it ain't too far off. Yeah, it's going to be right in this area right here. So it's going to be right about there. So we got good support here. This is, like I said, just going to keep the back from bouncing around if it actually would, which I don't think it will. But anyways, that takes care of that. Now I just have to start drilling the frame. This plate I just ordered, so I won't have that for a couple days. So they're going to shear it right to size, so I don't have to cut it. Save me some time. So now I'm going to go ahead and do my layout here and start doing my bolt holes. Frame holes are drilled. These ones here, I'm going to have to move the tires, take tires off. It's too difficult from the inside to get the layout just right, and I want it correct, so that's where I'm going to stop for now. It's probably the end of this. It's getting pretty long anyways. We'll pick up on this once I get this drilled. I'm getting my plates coming, so once they're in place and bolted on loosely, I'll set the bed back on. We're going to polish this battery box, if I didn't say that already. But once I get all those holes drilled, the brackets on, I'm going to set the bed on, and I'll mark where the holes on the bed and drill them. Just a bunch of drilling, so I won't video it. The next thing on this is probably going to be dropping the bed off to get it sandblasted and painted. I just have them one brackets I told you about that I got to put on. And I want to put steps on. That was the other thing. I've got these steps that I cut off a lift gate, so I'm going to cut these up, clean them, and make them look correct, and get them measured out right. And then I may use it. I shouldn't say I'm going to. I might use these. I'm not sure yet, but I think I'm just going to put one on each side. But anyways, that's the end for this one. We'll bring you back once we got something a little more interesting than drilling holes. Alright guys, if you like what we're doing, give us that thumbs up. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, leave your comments down below. We will catch you on the next one.